Sonnet. I le viol d'amour. An organ stop. O soft, caressing sound, more sweet than scent of violets in woody hollows, tone as amorous as the ringdove's tender moan beneath the spreading forest's leafy tent. What mystery of earth or air hath lent thee that bewitching music, where the drone of summer bees in dewy buds new blown with trembling, fainting melody is blent? What master did conceive thee as the sound most fit to woo his lady from her rest? What wakeful maiden in thy wooing found the passion of her lover first expressed, and from her silken pillows, beauty crowned, stepped forth and smiled on him who loved her best? November 10th, 1875. Roman 2, Vespers. It is the vesper hour, and in yon aisle, where fainting incense clouds the heavy air, my lady's kneeling at her evening prayer, alone and silently, for in a file the choristers have passed and left her there, where martyrs from the tinted windows stare, and saints look downward with a holy smile upon her meek devotions, while the day fades slowly and a tender amber light from colored panes about her head doth play. Her veil falls like a shade and ghostly white, her clasped hands glimmer through the deepening gray. So will she kneel until from heaven's height the angels bend to hear their sister pray. November 11th, 1875. Roman 3, Betting to Goathes. Be friendly, pray, with these fancies of mine, Betting. Could youth discrown thy head of its grey hair, I could not love it as I love it now. Could one grand line be smoothed from thy brow, 'twould seem to me less stately and less fair. O no, be as thou art, for thou dost wear the signs of noble age that cannot bow. Thine intellect like thy form, and I who know how each year that did visibly impair thy first fresh youth, left inwardly such grand and gracious gifts, would rather have thee so. Believe me, master, who erect doth stand in soul and purpose, age cannot lay low till he receive, new from the Father's hand, the youth he did but outwardly forgo. April 1876. Spring Song. O primavera, gioventù dell'anno. The first warm buds that break their covers, the first young twigs that burst in green, the first blade that the sun discovers, starting the loosened earth between. The pale soft sky, so clear and tender, with little clouds that break and fly. The crocus, earliest pretender to the low breezes passing by. The chirp and twitter of brown builders, a couple in a tree at least. The watchful wisdom of the elders, for callow younglings in the nest. The flush of branches with fair blossoms, the deepening of the faint green boughs, as leaf by leaf the crown grows fuller, that binds the young spring's rosy brows. New promise every day of sweetness, the next bright dawn is sure to bring, slow breaking into green completeness, fresh rapture of the early spring. May 1876. Prophecies of Summer. I found a wee leaf in the cleft, where the half-melted ice had left a sunny corner, moist and warm, for it to bud beyond all harm. The wet, brown sod, long-horned with ice, had slowly grown, so soft the tender seedling blown by autumn winds in earliest spring, sent through the sun-warmed covering, its little leaf to guard. I found it there, beneath a ledge, the dawning springtime's fairest pledge, and to my mind it dimly brought the sudden, joyous, leafy thought of summertime. I plucked it from the sheltered cleft, which the more kindly ice had left within my hand to drop and die. But for its sweet suggestions I revive it in a rhyme song. O love, where are the hours fled? The hours of our young delight. Are they forever gone and dead, or only vanished out of sight? Oh, can it be that we shall live to know once more the joys gone by, to feel the old, deep love revive, and smile again before we die? Could I but fancy it might be, could I the past bring back again, and for one moment, holding thee, forget the present and its pain. O love, those hours are passed away, beyond our longing and our sighs. Perhaps the angels, some bright day, will give them back in paradise. August 1876. Heaven. Not over roof and spire doth heaven lie, star-sentineled from our humanity, beyond the humble reach of every day, and only near us when we weep or pray, but rather in the household and the street, where loudest is the noise of hurrying feet, where hearts beat thickest, where our duties call, where watchers sit, where tears in silence fall. We know not or forget, there is no line that marks our human off from our divine. For all one household, all one family, in different chamberings, laboring are we. God leaves the doors between them open wide, knowing how life and death are close allied. And though across the threshold, in the gloom, we cannot see into that other room, it may be that the dear ones watching there can hear our cry of passionate despair, and wait unseen to lead us through the door, when twilight comes and all our work is o'er. January 1877. Maiden, arise, she whom through life her God forbade to hear the voices of her nearest and most dear, so that she dwelt amid the hum and rush of cities in a vast eternal hush, yet heard the first low calling of the voice that others had not heeded in the noise, and rising when it whispered, "Come with me," followed the form that others could not see, smiling perchance in death at last to hear the voices of the angels fill her ear, while the great silent void that closed her round was overflowed with rippled floods of sound, and the dumb past in alleluias drowned. March 1877. Spring. A fragment. Hildegard. It is the time when everything is flushed with presage of the spring, when every leaf and twig and bud feels new life rushing like a flood through greening veins and bursting tips, when every hour a sunbeam slips across a sleepy flower's mouth and wakes it babbling of the south, when birds are doubtful where or how to hang their nests on trunk or bough, and all that is in wood or craft, beneath an influence balmy soft, towards the light begins to strive, feeling how good it is to live. Walder, how beautiful thou standest there, thyself a prophet of the May, the shining of thy golden hair would melt December's snows away 12. The roses on thy cheeks would woo forth envious blossoms from their sleeps, and robins plume their breasts anew to mock the crimson of thy lips. Hildegard, but where would be the golden tresses, with ribbons bravely intertwined, and where the roses that thy praises have opened like a summer wind? Wert thou, my love, my knight, not here, to make these empty beauties dear, the spring would never deck her train in such a fair and winsome wise, did she not seek by smiles to chain the sun her royal lover's eyes. May Marian, a ballad. In our town there dwelt a maiden, whom the folk called Marian. In her narrow, gabled casement, all day long she sat and span, till a gentleman came riding through our town one summer day, spied May Marian at the casement, stole her silly heart away. Then she up and left her spinning, laid aside her russet gown, in a footboy's cap and mantle, followed him to London town. There he led her to a mansion, standing by the river side. In that mansion dwells the lady, who is my betrothed bride. If thou'lt be her serving maiden, thou shalt wear a braw red gown 14. Follow her to mass on Sunday, through the streets of London town. But if thou'lt not be her maiden, turn about and get thee home. 'Tis not meet that country wenches through the city here should roam. Not a word in answer spake she. Weeping sore, she turned away, and alone she gat her homeward, travelling till the fall of day. To our town she came at gloaming. Softly tirled she at the door, whispered, "Let me in, sweet mother. I will wander never more. I will turn me to my spinning. I will don my russet gown. Home is best for country lasses. Men are false in London town." But the door was shut against her. To her prayer came answer none. All night long alone she wandered weeping through our town. But at dawn she was awry. In the street she laid her down, 15. And they found her dead at sunrise, with her head upon a stone. Morals. Ladies, listen to my ballad. Maidens are too lightly won. Home is best for country lasses. Men are false in London town. Opportunities. Who knows his opportunities? They come, not trumpet-tongued from heaven, but small and dumb. Not beckoning from the future's promised land, but in the narrow present close at hand. They walk beside us with unsounding feet, and like those two that trode the eastern street, and with their Savior bartered thought for thought. Our eyes are holden, and we know them not. The Last Token. A.D. 107. She speaks. 1 minute more of life, enough to snatch this flower to my bosom, and to catch the parting glance and signal overhead from one who sits and waits to see me dead. 1 minute more, enough to let him see how straight the message fell from him to me, and how his talisman upon my breast. I'll face the end as calmly as the rest. Th impassive wall of faces seems to break, and show one face a quiver for my sake. How different death seems with a hand that throws across the pathway of my doom a rose. How brief and paltry life compared to this o'ertoppling moment of supremest bliss. Farewell, I feel the lion's hungry breath. I meet your eyes, beloved, this is death. Raphael to the Fornarina, sitting to him for a Madonna. Knot up the filmy strands of golden hair that veil your breast, yet leave its beauties bare. Indecent ripples backward let it flow, smooth parted sideways from your placid brow. Unclasp the clinging necklace from your throat, and let this misty veil about you float, as round the seraphs of my visions swim faint roseate clouds to make their radiance dim, unbearable to dazzled human eyes. Uplifted in a rapture of surprise, lay off your armlets now and cover up with dark blue folds that shoulders' dimpled slope. Let naught appear to woo the grosser sense, but ruling calm and sacred innocence. Subdue the pointed twinkle of your eye into a level, large serenity. Now comes the test, and let your mouth a while be pressed into a faint, ascetic smile, a pure reflection of the inward thought, a chastened glow from fire's celestial cot. Kriemhild of Burgundy, a fragment in all the land was not a maid could match her beauty white and red. No decent veil she need to wear, deep mantled in her royal hair. Dun ripples shot all through and through. With fiery gold her eyes were blue, and clearer than a summer wave that murmurs in some sunless cave. And over them her brow shone white, like the first low star that pricks the night. And under them her mouth did redden, like ripe red clover, honey-laden. But white as pear bloom was her chin, an elvish dimple played therein. Her breast stood softly up and down, beneath the folding of her gown, as if a bird were prisoned there, that fluttered for the outer air. And round and comely was each limb, as doth a royal maid beseem some woman to some man. We might have loved each other after all, have lived and learned together, yet I doubt it. You asked, I think, too great a sacrifice, or else perhaps I rate myself too dear. Whichever way the difference lies between us, would common cares have helped to lessen it? A common interest and a common lot. Who knows indeed, we choose our path and then stand looking back and sighing at our choice, and say, perhaps the other road had led to fruitful valleys dozing in the sun. Perhaps, but all things are perhaps. And either way, there lies a doubt, you know. We've but one life to live, and 50 ways to live it in, and little time to choose the one in 50 that will suit us best. And so the end is, that we part and say, we might have loved each other after all. Lines on Chaucer. No human pomp suggests his name, no human pride builds up his fame, but croft and meadow everywhere his presence and his charm declare. He was an echo of the woods, a breath of vernal solitudes, an analyst of brooks and birds, interpreter of sylvan words. He worshipped nature where he trod, and still through nature worshipped God. And spotless as the flower he praises, his name still blossoms with the daisies. What we shall say 50 years hence of our fancy dress quadrille, danced at Swanhurst, August 8, 1878. Do you remember, long ago, our fancy dress quadrille. Though many a year is past since then, it makes me joyous still to think what fun we used to have when we were young and gay and danced upon the Swanhurst lawn. That happy summer day, as shepherd and as shepherdess, we trod the graceful round, in pinks and blues with buckled shoes, and crooks with ribbons bound. And as with joyous step we danced, we gaily sang in time the foolish words and merry tune of some old nursery rhyme. But often through the singing broke a burst of laughter gay, 23. So young were we, so glad and free, that happy summer day, and hand in hand would linger long, as through the dance we moved. For some of us were lovers then, and some of us were loved. Ah, many a year is past since then, and fled the merry throng. And yet I hear, at times quite clear, the echo of our song. And though our days are wintry now, I well remember still the happy summer day we danced, our fancy dress quadrille. Nothing more. 'Twas the old, old story told again, the story we all have heard, a glimpse of brightness, parting and pain. You know it word for word. A stolen picture, a faded rose, an evening hushed and bright, a whisper, perhaps a kiss, who knows, a handclasp and good night. The sum of what we call first love, that dreamflower rare and white, that puts its magic blossom forth and dies in a single night. June and December, when our eyes grow dim and our hair turns grey, and we sit by the fire together. 'Twill seem strange to talk in a shivering way of our summertime's rosy weather, when our eyes were bright and our tresses smooth, and the blood in our veins leapt red, in the golden dawn of our long-lost youth, with the promise of life ahead. Shall we talk with smiles or with sighs that day, of the years that are dead and gone, of the cares and the joys that have passed away, like dewdrops beneath the sun? Nay, perchance we'll see but the sunny side of the vision in looking back, and the trace of joys that are past may abide, where our sorrow have left no track, and perhaps both the joys and the cares may seem, in the light of that later day, like the phantom shapes of some beautiful dream that has long ago passed away. 26. But whate'er beside we may lose or hold from the hordes of the golden past, may the friends we loved in the days of old to our hearts and thoughts cling fast, and before the days come that are coming soon, and whose motto is, I remember, God grant us one vision of love and June to brighten our life's December. October 7th, 1878. October. A cold grey sea, a cold grey sky, and leafless swaying boughs, a wind that wanders sadly by, and moans about the house, and in my lonely heart a cry for days that went before, for joys that fly and hopes that die, and the past that comes no more. A woman I know, for a look from her eyes, for a smile of her mouth, any man might well give the best years of his youth, for the touch of her hand, for the warmth of her kiss, might well barter his chances of infinite bliss. For her step is like sunlight that plays on the sea, and her bosom is snowy as snowy can be, and her hair is a mantle inwoven with gold, such as queens might have worn in the legends of old. And her chin, oh so white, and her cheek, oh so red, they might well drive a man who should look at them mad. But beneath the bright breast where her heart ought to be, what is there? Why, a trap to catch fools, sir, like me. October 1878. Daisies. Daisies, does he love me? Daisies, tell me true. Loves me, does not love me. That will never do. Why, you know, you daisies, whatever you may say, he stole that knot of riband I wore the other day. Daisies, one more trial. Let your petals fall. Loves me, does not love me. Loves me after all. Thank you, darling daisies. And if it ends that way, I'll wear you in a garland upon my wedding day. Impromptu. On being asked for some verses, I love the silver dawn of night that melts the dark away, the ecstasy of pallid light that bathes the ended day, when leaf by leaf the slumberous trees begin to talk anew, and that sweet almoner, the breeze, fills every cup with dew. When on the fevered brow of toil, Eve lays a soothing palm, and whispers softly to the soul, this hour was made for calm. Not her dame des fleurs, to FSW, rosy and fair and fragrant, your vassals, the flowers, come, bearing a welcome to us, from the heart of your sunlit home. Delicate garlands wreathing with brightness these dreary hours, red lips and white lips breathing of you, Our Lady of Flowers. Violets blue as your eyes are, and roses as soft as your cheek. Daphne sweet as your words are, primroses pallid and meek. Feathery, waving fern plumes, and blossoms from summer bowers, each one bearing a message from you, Our Lady of Flowers, giver of brightness and beauty, and queen of this fragrant throng. How shall we thank you or praise you, but feebly in this poor song? 32. We whom you crown with blossoms, whom richly your kindness dowers, we must be silent and love you, Our Lady of Flowers. November 25, 1878. Translations from the German. 3 songs from the German of Emanuel Jabel. I. Mein Pferd geht langsam durch die Nacht. My steed goes slowly through the night. The moon is half in shadow, with clouds that steal across her light, like lambs across a meadow. A sudden stillness fills my heart, with grief so lately moved. For in thy thoughts I have a part, tonight, my best beloved. In every whisper of the wind, thy greeting I discover. O mayst thou in the breezes find the kisses of thy lover. Roman 2. Scone lily, spotless lily in the garden, fair and high on slender stem. In the morning braes thou wavest, like a dainty silver flame. How thy chalice opens upward, to admit the sunlight's gleam, scarce unto the earth belonging. Part of heaven dost thou seem. Ah, thou bearest greetings to me, from a being pure as thou, whom I called my spirit's spirit, once with many a loving vow, she who taught me to discover love that lurks in sorrow's smart. Now if I but think upon her, sudden stillness fills my heart. Romans 3. There stands the ancient gabled house. The rooms therein, how well I know. They're still as once they were, when first I loved there, long ago. But like the moon, times change and hearts, and strangers now the dwelling claim. Another passion fills my breast, yet is the house the same. Today I went there to the feast. Some memory made my bosom stir. I heeded not the song and jest. I only thought of her, of all that we had meant to be, of all my vanished youthful years, and of the love that filled her eyes, till mine o'erflowed with tears. And when I roused me from the thought, alas, how changed did all things seem, as though that dream had been my life, and all my life a dream. Longing, from the German of Schiller, Arc aus dieses Thales Grunden, from the shadows of the valley, with the chilly mist oppressed, might I only find the outlet, I should count myself as blessed. There uprise the sunny mountains, green and young and fair to see. Had I wings to lift me upward, to the mountains I would flee. Melodies are sweetly chiming. I can catch the heavenly notes, and a balmy flower fragrance on the light breeze downward floats. Golden fruits are shining, glowing, through the leafage darkly green, and the flowers that there are blowing, winter's snows have never seen. Ah, how blissful must the life be in that sunshine without night. 37. Ah, how soft and how refreshing is the air that crowns that height. Yet the stormy river stays me, that between us roars of death, and its ghastly waves are lifted, till my spirit shuddereth. There a bark all lonely tosses, without steersman on the tide. Leap into it, bold, untrembling. Sure some fate its sails will guide. Thou must trust, and thou must venture, for the gods will lend no hand. Nothing but a wonder lifts thee to thy golden wonderland.